How's it going, Sambarians? I wanted some extra music in my cab, so I've made some adapters for some 5¼ inch speakers. These are kicker speakers, the ones I recommend for the kit. Today I'm going to show you how to install the ring and the trim piece so that you can get your speakers mounted. Wiring is fairly straightforward. You're going to be wiring it to your deck and running it either over your glove box or over your steering column and through the door jamb right here, and I'll show you that later. Not the whole wiring it up to the deck part, but through the door jamb. And then once your wires are in here, you can just hook them right up and you're good to go. So all right, I'm going to start by taking out my speaker because you guys won't have yours yet, but I need to take this out so that I can take the door panel off. So I'll start taking out the speaker. Alright, so now that I got my speaker out, I take this trim ring out, which I'm realizing I need a little bit smaller screwdriver for that, so I'm going to go find one of those and I'll be right back. Alright, let's take out the trim ring. There's going to be 3 bolts, or 3 screws for the trim ring. And then you have the speaker ring right behind there. Alright, to take off your door panel, you also have to take off your window crank and your handle, your door handle, and your door pull. On my window cranks and door handles that have the hexagons, you can see right through there, they have the clip on the inside. All you gotta do is put your pocket screwdriver in there and give it a little bit of a push that way, and then you can pull it right off. And this trim ring was behind it as well. Same for this one, just get right behind that clip, push up, and you should be able to pull it right off. This one's a little tight. Let's see. There we go. It's just held up a little bit. And then we gotta take off our door handle or the door pull. And then we can have access to take off our whole door panel right here. Now what I like to use is a little trim tool like this and get up underneath where the clip is. You can kind of see where they are in each little area and try to just give it a little bit of a sideways pry. Push that one up. Give it a little sideways pry. I think I just dropped one. Alright, now the panel is off. I did drop one, so I'll find that. Alright, now that we got the door trim off, the door card off, I'll just go ahead and take this ring off so you can kind of see what's going on behind there. Alright. So once you have the door card off, you're going to have a hole just like this. There's going to be a hole here, a 7mm hole, and there's not going to be a hole here and not going to be a hole here. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to get your trim ring that comes with the kit and put it up in here. Put your clip and screw into this one just so it's screwed in with one, and then kind of make sure it's all lined up and centered within this hole, within your speaker hole on your door panel, and then make a mark right in the middle of this with a permanent marker. And then you can unscrew this, take it off, center punch and drill a 7mm hole here, install a clip, put this piece back on, and then put those 2 screws on, make sure it's nice and centered as well, make a little mark, and then you can pull this back off, and then center punch and drill 7mm hole, put your clip in, and then you can bolt this whole thing back on. But before I did that, I made the marks on the door trim panel that we just took off to where we're going to need to cut that hole for the speaker. And how I did that was I took these clips out and I put them in backwards, and then I screwed the screws in backwards through these clips so that the points are sticking out just a little bit. And then I put the door panel on And once you have the door panel on there, it's barely touching those screw tips. You can kind of just press against the door panel right here. Make sure you got like these 3 areas at least, because there's 3 bolts. And then you can take your door panel back off. You can flip these back around, and you'll have 3 little divots on the back of your door panel. And I like to mark those divots with a permanent marker just so I can see them better. And then I put my trim ring backwards on, well, I'll show you that. All right, so the trim ring would normally sit on the door with the bevel going in. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it and we're gonna face it face down. So turn it around and line it up with your holes that you had, your divots. You can kind of see the outline of where mine were, right about there. And then you can draw a black line all the way around the edge of this with your permanent marker. And then I used a skill saw with just a fine bit to cut this out. You can see like it's not perfect in some spots. It's pretty good, but doesn't need to be perfect because the trim ring that goes around the outside will cover it up. So just as long as you're pretty close and you can fit that ring in there, you should be good. All right, now that you have your door panel marked and cut using your trim ring, you can put your trim ring back into the door. You're gonna wanna use the slightly longer screws. There's gonna be 2 size screws in this kit. There's short ones and longer ones. These ones are cut off because this is a prototype, but there's gonna be shorter ones and longer ones. For the installing the ring into the door, you're gonna wanna use these longer ones. So start with those. And when you're tightening these up, you're gonna be pretty gingerly with them. You don't want to crack the plastic. Just make sure they're nice and snug, they'll stay in there. But don't crank them down too much, or you could crack the plastic on the clips or the ring. I included a whole extra set of clips just in case, because I know mistakes happen, so just wanted to make sure that there's enough clips for if you do break them, but that's in there. After you got this trim ring in here, you're going to want to fold your vapor layer back over if you do have the vapor layer, and secure it in place. And then I just used a little like X-Acto knife and went all the way around the edge of the vapor barrier and just took that hole out of there. So now you have a nice open hole where your speaker wires can come through. They're somewhere down here. There we go. All right, now that you got your speaker ring in there, you got your door panel cut out. Make sure all the clips are in the back and in place, and then just line it back up with your door. Get a few in place and just clip it all the way around. Just like that. And then for your door handles and door pulls, you're gonna want to get those back in. For your door handles and window cranks, you're gonna have a clip. If you have my kit, it looks like this. If you have a stock one, it looks similar to this, but you're gonna have to put it back on here. And I just like to use pliers just to get it back around there, and it should look like that. And then you're gonna have your trim ring, and you want to match it with the other side. You can put it right over the piece. You're gonna have some tension from the clip pushing back, and then you want to find your orientation with how it looks from the other side. This looks a little off. Right about here. And push it down until it engages and you can't pull it back out. So do the same with the window crank. Have the clip right here. Just pop that in there. Get the trim ring on the back, match it up with the other side. I think it's right about here. pop it in until it engages, and you're good. So now your trim ring is in there, and you can put the finishing ring over that and bolt it up. To do that, you're going to need a little bit smaller of a screwdriver, and you're going to use these small screws for this. There's 6 in the pack. You're going to use 3 on this side and 3 on the other side. You're going to want to line this hole, these 3 holes, up with these 3 holes, and the thinner portion of your speaker piece is going to be going up and towards the front of the vehicle. So these, again, you're going to want to make sure they're snug for sure, but if you go too snug, it could strip out. You don't want that to happen. If they do strip out, you can use like a little bit of super glue or something, put it in the hole for the screw, and then screw the hole in, or screw the screw in to the hole, and just leave it slightly snug and wait till that super glue dries, and then you can snug it up just a little bit more. So now you have the trim ring on. You can see how it covers up that little hole so that it doesn't look bad if you have any kind of bad cut going around here. So your kit's going to come with 4 grommets and 2 boots. It's not the best solution, but it's a solution. You can see right here there's a little bit of folding over where this boot goes into this grommet, and that's not a perfect seal, and that's why it's not quite the best solution, but it definitely keeps the wires from getting chafed and keeps a majority of the water out of the vehicle. So when you open your doors, you're gonna have 2 vinyl patches, one over here and one over here. You're gonna need to pull those vinyl patches off. You'll have 2 holes right here, and that's where I put those boots in. I used 1 grommet in this hole and then 1 grommet in this hole, and I put those in first before anything else. And then I ran my wires through this hole right here. These wires are too thick of a gauge. I would use something definitely thinner than that. I think these are 14 gauge. I would use 16 or 18 probably. Then you can kind of tape around them right here so that they can be better protective in this hole. But this is right underneath the dash, right next to your headlight. The hole just comes right through here and then goes through the body and comes out here. So then I just snaked it out there and through this hole, or through the boot itself, and then through this hole. And then to get this boot into these grommets, I just you have to squish it down nice and well, and then push it through. You can use like a little bit of foaming window cleaner that helps as being like a little lubricant. But yeah, you can squish it down and push it through so that the rib portion of this is on the other side of that grommet, and so that it doesn't pull back out after you get it in there. That way you have just like a nice little short accordion boot right down in here to protect your wires. You can open and close your door, not worry about it. And then I just routed the wires back through the door and then out that hole so that I can plug it into the speaker and have some music. All right, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about your speaker kit is how to mount your speaker and how to install that hardware. You can see this is right side up, but when it's right side up, the speaker wires are coming out the bottom, and that will run into this. So I mounted mine upside down, which you can't tell once the speaker grill's over there if that's right side up or upside down, so it doesn't matter. Just get your wires plugged into there. Let's get them in. All right, you can kind of set it in there so that it's upside down. And then you're going to put your grill over it, and you can put your grill right side up and just line it all up nicely. The one weird thing about this kit is this hole to mount your speaker lined up with the hole to mount the speaker ring, and that just was something I couldn't avoid. So in this particular hole to mount your speaker, I use a bigger, longer screw, and it's the screw that comes with your speakers. My speakers came with 8 screws, 2 for each, or a set for each side, so that you can screw them into your door panels. Those screws are a little bit bigger than the whole kit, these guys. And I'll use this one. So you just want to line it up. So the bottom foremost screw is that long larger screw that comes with your kit, or with your speakers. And the rest of them are the slightly longer screws that are included with my kit. And these are the same as the other ones. You do want to tighten them down, but you don't want to tighten them too much because they will strip out. Just nice and snug. Now the speaker is nice and solid in there, and you can bump your music. Hopefully your audio system is bumping now with your new speaker rings and speakers installed. I'm gonna work on getting this lip installed. I'm not sure if I'm gonna leave it white or change it to black. What do you think? Leave it down in the comments. Tell me what you think. And if you like my stuff, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.